Hello, welcome to my top 5 favorite nonfiction books from 2018. So I'm just going to go over quickly my 5 favorite books that I read this year that were nonfiction. If you've seen my November reading wrap-up, you will know that I completed my book challenge of reading 100 books in 2018. Yay me! And then I've also filmed my top 10 favorite fiction books from 2018. So if you are more of a fiction person, you can scooch on over to that video. But if you're looking for some non-fiction recommendations, then thank you for watching. So we're going to start with my first favorite non-fiction book this year, which was Big Girl. Was it How I Gave Up Dieting and Got a Life by Kelsey Miller. There are lots of reasons why this was my favorite non-fiction book of 2018. The first reason is because I thought this book was so funny. I love the way Kelsey Miller writes. She's so honest and transparent and hilarious, in my opinion. And I like this book so much because, I love memoirs, but I also think that Kelsey has such a good message to send, and I'm so happy that she's sharing with the world. This book is all about body positivity and, loving you for who you are, no matter what you look like, no matter your size. It's all about feeling good and not getting wrapped up in the hype or wrapped up in the wheel of dieting, which I think is just so important, and I just really like this book. So if you think that's interesting at all, please read it. Or if you just like memoirs, like funny memoirs, I also recommend it for that reason. The second book I loved from nonfiction this year was A River in Darkness, One Man's Escape from North Korea by Masaji Ishikawa. I think that's how you pronounce it. Masaji Ishikawa. So it says it all in the title. This man escaped North Korea, and it goes right to the beginning. So he was originally from Japan. He's Korean. His family's Korean, originally from Japan. When he was a child, his father brought them all over to North Korea because, North Korea had so much propaganda and they were promising prosperity for everyone, all Koreans who went to North Korea, which was obviously a huge lie. So his father took the whole family there, and you just read all about their hardships, about the North Korean communist system, the evil. It's horrific. It's horrific. It's terrifying. It's maddening. And it's really sad. So there's not much more I can say about that because you just have to read for yourself what he went through and his escape. And the epilogue is just heartbreaking. So, but obviously a really good book. My third favorite nonfiction book that I read this year was How an Economy Grows and Why It Crashes by Peter Schiff. This was my second time reading this book. I read it once in 2017, once in 2018. I should probably read it once a year, every year, because this book is basically economy for dummies, but I still need to reread it because economy is just so hard for me to grasp. It's so difficult. So I reread this book this year just to kind of get a refresher. And he just explains it in such an easy way. Like, there are pictures. It's like a picture book for adults on how to learn economy. And he just explains things so simply. At the end, it's just started to get a little complicated because our monetary system is really complicated and doesn't make a lot of sense. So if you want to learn economic basics, definitely read this one. My fourth favorite book, nonfiction book of 2018, was A New Earth, Awakening to Your Life's Purpose by Eckhart Tolle. This is kind of like, I guess, a self-help book, and it's kind of very almost like granola, hippy-dippy, yoga, meditation kind of style book. But I actually learned a lot from this book. There were parts that I didn't understand, so there were parts that I had to just, I had to reread, and then I just gave up, because I was like, I don't get it, I'm moving on. So I actually would like to reread this book, just to refresh and, you know, reread some of the messages. Because I did internalize a lot of the things he said. Like, a lot of the things he spoke about, not that I have an anxiety problem, but everybody gets a little anxiety, and the way he spoke about anxiety and you know, working through that, I found really influential. And talking about desires and materialism, I took away a lot from this book. And just kind of, yeah, like, what is important in life. So I really highly recommend this to everyone, even if you don't read the whole thing, if you just read bits and pieces, work your way through it slowly. I think there's a lot of good content in there that could actually change your life. Like, reading this book was life-changing for me. I internalized so much, and I did change the way I think and even behave after reading this book. It's really, really powerful. And my 5th favorite book, nonfiction book this year, was On Writing, A Memoir of the Craft by Stephen King. So this is kind of half Stephen King memoir, half how to be a writer. So Stephen King's advice on how to be a writer. And not that I have any aspirations to be a writer, at least like a novel writer. I found it so interesting. I mean, it was interesting to read about his life. He didn't open up a lot because it's quite a small book, but he gave us an idea of what it was like for him growing up, his young adult life, raising a family, and then his tips for writing. Since reading that, I've noticed so much as a reader, which I find very interesting. I think the biggest thing I remember from this book is he says, just say, he said, she said, I said. Like, there's none of this, like, she exclaimed profusely, da-da-da. He was like, just keep it simple with said, said, said. And I thought that was really interesting because after reading On Writing, going to read other books, it was kind of like, yeah, like, why do you have all this fluff? Like, it doesn't matter. So I actually would want to reread this book too. It was really good. His tips for writing, really interesting, I think. I mean, obviously, he's got a lot of good advice. He's written how many books? And he's how popular. So, yes, those were my 5 favorite nonfiction books of 2018. If you've read them, I'd love to hear what you think. If you're planning on reading them, I hope you enjoy them. And if you have any other nonfiction book recommendations for me, please send them my way because I'm always looking for good book recommendations. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!